In this video, we'll cover how to ingest AWS CloudTrail logs from an S3 bucket. Let's get started. In Splunk, make your way to the add-on for AWS app. Now you're going to want to configure that input, but before you can, you need to go to configuration. And you're going to need to add an account. So let's do that. Give it a name. But what you're going to notice is that you need credentials from AWS. So we need to head over there. In your AWS console, look for IAM, or Identity and Access Management. And the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a policy. So click Policy, Create Policy. Click JSON for the editor. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Splunk add-on documentation, and we're going to copy and paste a sample statement. So let's grab that in its entirety, copy and paste. Now it is worth noting that this policy can be tightened up and probably should be. You're going to want to restrict this down to your SQS queue, your S3 bucket, and if you're using them, your KMS keys. But as it goes, this will do the job, so we're going to move forward. Click Next. We're going to give it a name. Splunk AWS add-on CloudTrail. Nice and descriptive. Okay. Create policy. And now we're ready to create a user. So over in Users, create user. And we'll paste in that name, just for ease of identification. You're going to want to attach the policy that we just created. So doing a little search, check that box to attach it, click Next, Create User. With your user created, go ahead and click on that user and go over to the Security Credentials tab. Here's where you can generate access keys. So let's do that. You want to choose Command Line Interface, accept the acknowledgement, create access keys, and we're going to choose to copy each value into this app. Okay, looks good. Now there is another way to do this. You can use an IAM role, but the limitation of that is that it will not work with Splunk Cloud. And the reason being is that Splunk Cloud is managed by Splunk, and so you will not have access to their AWS accounts, which means you won't be able to create the needed roles and policies, etc. But if you're managing this yourself, let's see how it looks. So back to IAM, go to Roles, create role. The trusted entity type is AWS Service for EC2. So select these values just like this. Click Next. We're going to attach the same policy that we used earlier, so same permissions. And we're going to give the role a name. Splunk AWS add-on CloudTrail. Okay, create role. With your role created, you're going to want to attach it to your EC2 instance. So let's head over to EC2, find your Splunk instance that has the AWS add-on installed. Check this box, go to Actions, Security, Modify IAM role. And you're going to want to choose the role you just created, like this. Choose Update. And with that done, now you can go back to Splunk and you can refresh. And what you'll see under Configuration is an auto-discovered IAM role. So this is one way to do it as well. I just wanted to show you that. Again, the preferred way is to use access keys. And we're going to remove the role simply by reversing the process. So check that instance, Security, Modify IAM role. No role. We're going to update and detach. Refreshing this, we'll see it's gone now. Okay, so those are credentials. The next thing we need to do are create our SQS queues. So back to AWS, we go to Simple Queue Service. Create queue. Now the first one that we're going to create is a dead letter queue, or DL queue. Splunk DL queue. You're going to want to leave all the defaults and click Create Queue. More on this queue in just a minute. The second queue is our main one, the one that your CloudTrail S3 bucket will send to. So we'll call this one Splunk CloudTrail. And the configuration value to change here is visibility timeout. Change that to 5 minutes or more. This is a requirement of the add-on app, so it's best to do it now. Leave encryption with the default values, but what we will do is configure a policy. So I have one already prepared. I'm just going to grab that, paste that in here. And it's comprised of two main sections. The first one is to allow S3, the service S3, to send to your queue. Now this is mine, of course yours will be different. And it's restricted down to the account you're using and your S3 bucket. So you're going to want to modify those values to fit your environment. For me, I need the ARN for my S3 bucket. One way to find that is to go to CloudTrail. Viewing my trails, we'll find the demo one. And it's configured to write to this S3 bucket, so we're going to click that. In the bucket, we go to Properties, and here's the Amazon resource name, or ARN. So we'll copy that value, and we will paste it, like so. Next, we need the ARN of the IAM user that we created earlier. So let's go to IAM. Find our user, grab its ARN. Okay. Again, substitute that value for the real deal, and we're ready to move on. We do want to enable dead letter queue, so we're going to select the one that we created earlier. Here it is. And now we're ready to create our main queue. Awesome, all set. Okay, now what we need to do is configure our S3 bucket to send event notifications to SQS. So back to our S3 bucket, you go to Properties, scroll down, and you will find Event Notifications. Create event. So we'll give this a name, we'll call it Splunk Notify CloudTrail SQS. Select all object create events, scroll down, and for destination we want to pick our SQS queue. And our main one is Splunk-CloudTrail. Save changes. Great, at this point everything in AWS is configured. We're ready to move on to our app. So back in Splunk, we go to Inputs. Create new input, we want to choose CloudTrail, and we want to choose the SQS-Based S3 because it's recommended due to performance and also fault tolerance. We'll provide it a name, and we're going to select the account we configured earlier. Now for the region that we're looking for our queues, of course you can go to your queue details and it will tell you which region it is in. For me, it's US East 1. For you, it may be different, so make sure to adjust accordingly. It's US East, North Virginia. It'll take a second, then it will load your queues. Here's mine. Again, we want the Splunk-CloudTrail. And the value to uncheck is signature validate all events. You only need that if you're using SNS, and we don't at this time, so we're unchecking it. If you don't uncheck this, you're probably not going to see any messages. We'll have more details in our doc. Lastly, choose your index. For me, it's CloudTrail, and now we're ready to click Add. All right, our input is configured. Now the test, we need to search. So here we'll look for our index. We call it CloudTrail. And let's see if we see any records. We do. So there we go. Step by step for how to get CloudTrail logs from an S3 bucket into Splunk.